only bad thing is, how do I find the movie? Okay. Am I live?
Yeah.
Yeah? Except I don't. Hello?
Catch for your grace.
Oh.
You have the gray stone.
I found something. Am I live? Is anybody on? Hello, this is Shane with ROA Off-Road, and we're at a live campfire rant burning down the stadium. The Notre Dame Stadium. No, actually we're not. We're using silly tools at our disposal to make this kind of a unique experience. Is anybody? How do I get onto? Oh, there I am. Okay. It says that there are 5 people watching. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Whoever's watching, make a comment if you want to. So today, what I can talk about is, so as you can see, I'm at a football stadium right here. This is the Fighting Irish, the Notre Dame football stadium in South Bend, Indiana. And you might be wondering, why in the world are you in South Bend, Indiana? The reason is because we got some exciting stuff coming soon. It is, we're flying out this weekend, and we're going to be doing a full factory tour at none other. Can we change the screen? Let's change it. Let's go to where we're going so we can show. It's a sneak. Boom! There we are. We are going to Palomino, and we're going to be headed to the Pause division, and we're going to get a full factory tour. So I'm super excited about this. So kind of I want to stay on the theme of Pause by Palomino today. Actually, we don't have to. You can jump on, and if you have any questions about anything, feel free to just chime in and ask your questions. Go to town. But we just figured we would throw the background of Pause here, because that is what we're going to be doing. Was it 2 years ago? Maybe 3 years ago. Man, it was a little bit, maybe 2 years ago. We went out to Wisconsin, and we did a factory tour at Imperial Outdoors, who makes Explorers. That was when they were making the X22s, the XR22s, and we went through and we almost spent an entire week there, which we're going, and we're kind of repeating the same thing. But this time we're going to go out to Pause, and we're going to check out the Palomino. And hey Merc Life, thanks for saying hi. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks Jordan for saying I look good. I appreciate that. I am eating healthier, so slimming down a bit. So we went out to Imperial Outdoors and did a full factory tour. That was really cool. Honestly, that was one of my very first experiences doing a tour of a factory. I learned a lot, and that is not a train driving by. I don't know if you can hear that. But we're gonna head out. I'm really excited to go out to see Pause, because I think they're a very large factory, and they've been around. At least Palomino has been around since I think 1950. And so it's a generational company. The founder, I think, has passed away, and it's in new ownership. Well, Forest River acquired them a few years ago, but it's a big company, and I love to go out there and learn and see their operations. I'm very, very, very impressed with Pause so far. Their quality has been superb. Nothing is without issues here and there. Every single thing that we're carrying, even the Explorers and the Roamer ones, we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always improving, but very, very impressed. William, welcome William. Good evening to you as well. Will Pause be coming out with a 20-point question mark with a dinette floor plan? I want to say yes. We haven't specifically talked about that floor plan with them. So they have already in productions one of our tech man. So we have our Roamer tech line, right? So if you have a trailer from us and you have an issue and you're on the road, you tech our tech line, and our guy that's in charge of the tech line actually went out to Pause a few weeks ago or a month ago and got the full, walk around tour, and just, they were trying to train him so he could be a better tech person for our roamers. Anyway, he actually saw one of the new models that they were building, but it's a single axle or two wheels. There's no axles, independent suspension, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So they already have that in production. They do have a 20.4 that should be coming out here in the next in the summer, and that's going to be a bunk model. So it won't have a dinette, but I think they'll be having that pretty soon, because I know there's a lot of people that are asking for that, and that's one of the things that I've been most excited about Pause and Palomino is they have been so quick to listen to what the market is saying. They really want to be known for making the best off-road trailer in America. That's something that has become so apparent with working with them. Like, there has been no pushback, no friction with this company whatsoever. And I'm not saying like we have frictions with other companies or anything, but like they have been like, what do you think we should do? We think we should probably do this and this and this. Let's go for it, right? If they hear it from like the consumer a little bit, they hear it from, I mean, you can't do everything everybody wants, right? But I'm shocked in how receptive they've been to like really making improvements and making changes, and they've been doing it on the fly, and they're a big manufacturer, and you don't usually expect that from a big manufacturer. So super impressed with them. I don't know when we'll see a dinette floor plan, to answer your question simply. I love my Black Series HQ21. That's great. Great, Eric. I'm super happy for you, and I love to hear that. That's especially if you buy the trailer from us, right? That's like, we have a owner in our shop right now. He's been here all day. Actually, we've been working on his Black Series HQ19, and he's had great memories in it, great experiences in it. We're fixing up some of his brakes and packing his wheel bearings and stuff, and he's had a great time. He loves the trailer, and that's what we want to hear. That's like people it's so funny when people get mad when they like take their trailer off and it breaks, and they call up screaming and yelling at us, how dare you. It's like, come on, like, we don't want your trailer to break. I so badly want you to have an incredible experience, because then we have a great incredible experience too. So happy to hear that. Howdy from Orlando, watching from my Tremor, oh yeah, and hooking my X22 for a week of camping on the Florida coast starting tomorrow. That sounds amazing. It is snowing here. It like snowed the last 3 days. It is insane. If you're not from Utah, like, Utah normally has very mild winters. Like, it snows up in the mountains, but the valley floor is like 4,000 feet. And we like some years barely get snow in the valley. And we have had snow in the valley 3 days this week. It's crazy. I think I saw something that said we've had the most snow since 1952, and our governor is putting us in a state of emergency for flooding because we've had so much water here. But yeah, I actually normally would be camping this coming Easter weekend, because the mountains don't have snow in them, and you're up in the woods, and it's like we got snow all the way down into the valley, so it's crazy. So enjoy that nice weather in Florida. Can I still become a roamer if I didn't buy an X22 from you? What you guys want you guys to install some of the X22 upgrades. We do actually have some like options to. We used to say no to that. Honestly, we were just like, no, this was kind of it's just kind of buy a trailer from us, and that's kind of like the ticket into the community. But we did start making some exceptions. And it's like a subscription plan. You just buy into it. So there are some options. 801-860-0035. That's our phone number. You can text us and ask for one of the sales coaches, and they can tell you more stuff about that. Hey, if I'm talking too quiet, sometimes I ramble and I like get quieter and quieter. Sometimes I go louder. Just let me know. Make sure my volume's good. So quick question on the awesome Roamer 1. Can the outside kitchen be deleted? That's a good question. We're not supposed to delete it. So we kind of have an agreement with Imperial Outdoors that, when we were collaborating to get this thing done for us, the white label, the Roamer 1, there was certain things that he wanted us to kind of abide by, which was these are the options on the Roamer 1. This is what you get on the Roamer 1. And also the other question we get a lot is, can you put a kitchen on the X195 or the 145? And the answer is no to that, and also no to your question. I mean, if you buy the trailer, you drive it off the lot, you can do whatever you want with it, right? It's yours. You own it. But coming out of the factory and out of our facility, we're supposed to kind of like leave it the way it's supposed to come. So, but we try to be very creative, and we'll work with you, and potentially maybe we could find that kitchen to go somewhere else if you take it out yourself, and I don't know. So maybe we could buy it from you. Can I still be okay? Where's the next one? P.S. I will be back in Salt Lake City next week for engineering meetings. Please stop all snow. LOL. Well, that's the reason why we're going in the state of emergency. Supposedly it's supposed to get into the 70s this week, which means all the snow should melt, hopefully. But then you might need to bring your swim trunks and a little boat. You know, I do remember there was like some crazy flooding back in the 70s here, and people were like riding boats down like State Street and in Salt Lake downtown. My dad was telling me about that. Anyway, so it should be good weather by the time you get here, Big Dave. How long will you be visiting Pause for? Are you doing a factory tour? Yes, we are doing a factory tour. We're going to be out there from Sunday until Thursday, and we're planning on doing a full factory tour. We're going to first go to the Pause division. We're going to walk through and get the whole, rundown on how pauses are built. I believe, Maynard and Dylan, they're setting things up, and I think the plan is that they're going to call in a lot of the people that build the components like Battleborn and Victron, and talk about how they've designed it for the Pause and put it together, all that stuff. Super excited about that. And then we're going to go to some of the other, I think Wednesday or one of the days, we're going to go off-site from Pause and go to some of the component factories like Moab. So Moab makes the suspension, the lift suspension that goes up and down the air ride suspension, 12 inches of travel. Super excited about that. And then they also make tracks, heavy duty tracks, all the trays that hold the kitchens and the fridges. So we're going to be going over there. I think we might be going over to the wall company, the company that makes the wall. It's 1.5 inches thick, but this stuff is super dense. It's super high. The density, I don't know what it is, but like we've had sledgehammers where we've been knocking, trying to bust holes through it. Nobody can bust holes through it. Super strong. We had a picture of I think probably close to a dozen people standing on the roof. They dropped a slug, I don't know if it was 50 or 100-pound slug, down onto the thing, and it didn't even do anything. So really cool. So we're going to kind of go out and visit just all the different parts that put the trailer together. And I'm really excited about that. So have you guys looked at the hardcore off-road, off-grid trailers built in Australia? Well, Phoenix, thanks, welcome. You must be brand new to our channel, because we are I want to say we're the OGs of off-road, hardcore Australian trailers. Yes, we have. We carry pretty much the best off-road trailers in America, and we started with sourcing there was the inspired Australian built trailers. The very first trailer that you could consider Australian in America, we are actually currently carrying, and we've sourced before anybody else. So yes, we have actually we've actually talked with almost every Australian manufacturer that you can, you name it. Zone, Brooder, Kedron, who else? Lotus. We've had conversations with all of these people. We carry Patriots, which are in their class. In my opinion, they're the best Australian camper that you can buy in the market, for a small tent version. We were one of the first, pretty much the first Black Series dealer, which is not Australian. It's Australian inspired. They used to be Australian. The founder was Australian, and he sold the company to a guy in China, and he moved production over into China. So they advertise as an Australian company, but they have no ties to Australia other than that the founder used to be there. And then they started sourcing, building them there, and shipping them into the U.S. And we were the very first ones to ever carry that product. So yes, we are very extremely familiar with everything Australian. And speaking about the Pause, the Roamer 1, the Explorers, essentially what we've done is we started bringing, or working with all these manufacturers from Australia, and we said, these are amazing trailers. Now, I want to admit, everybody thinks the grass is greener on the other side, right? You always think, oh, they have the best. They must have the best trailers. And we've put our hands on some of these trailers. Like, I've talked to a lot of, we've gotten pretty deep in with even talking about carrying brooders here. And, not to get into too many of the details of some of these manufacturers, but I actually, as much as we think the grass is greener on the other side, the experience that we've had is, yeah, they have some amazing things to offer, but, oh, I forgot, we carry Kimberly too, and they're a phenomenal company. We actually carry them and sell them. But they make some phenomenal stuff, but Americans, like, we make some phenomenal stuff too. Not so much in like the off-road space. What we do in small teardrop styles. There's some great innovative companies out there. But you go into some of the really high-end premium stuff we carry, and we build some awesome stuff. And so we just thought, there needs to be something in America that can compete or be better than what's in Australia. And the Pause and the Roamer 1 and the Explorers, in a lot of ways, I think they're better than anything you can buy in Australia right now. And I know some people are gonna not like that, but it's true. So, and this is coming from somebody that's dealt with all of these brands, all these products. There are some areas, I'm trying to think of what would be better on, say, like a Lotus or a Zone or a Kedron. What would be better on them that you would see that you wouldn't see on the new Pauses and the Roamer 1s? Not the suspension, because we carry the same, if not better, suspension. It wouldn't be the walls or the insulation, because ours is better. It would be, I think, some of the fit and finishes and floor plans. That's the biggest thing that we're lacking right now, is some of the floor plan, not fit and finish. When I say fit and finish, I mean like the upholstery. There's some, like, I look at some of the Kedrons and man, they must spend a lot. I mean, we spent a lot of money on our upholstery in the Roamer 1, like a lot. Like, it's one of the most expensive things on the inside of the trailer. Thousands of dollars for that upholstery. It's crazy. But Kedron, I'm like, wow, they must spend like $5 to $10 on their upholsteries, because some of it's just so plush and beautiful looking, and that's something that I think we could improve. But I mean, like, that's not like, our solar arrays are bigger, our battery banks are bigger. We're using pure 12-volt AC units, not through inverters, which is more efficient. So I don't know. I think we're doing a pretty good job, and there's still room to improve. So okay, Shane, is there anything you gained from the Imperial Outdoors Factory tour that you're looking to see compare at the Palomino Pause factory? That's a good question. I don't know for sure how to answer that. So what I'm going to be looking for, one of the things that I look for more often than not, and I didn't study manufacturing. I've been experiencing and going, like, I've been to every factory of every brand we carry, which is close to 10 or so brands, right? So I have been to a lot of factories. And I've actually been out to Indiana and just been to their regular RV manufacturers, and those are massive, right? Something that I look for more than anything else is kind of culture. I'm all about culture, and the reason why is because, like, if the culture is good and the people are good and you feel like they care, everything's gonna always have a problem at the end of the day. Like, there's always gonna be problems. It's inevitable. I mean, and I don't like to use this as an example, but like even NASA has had space shuttles that have failed, right, and blown up, and there's been catastrophes in NASA that have happened, right? People have died on these things, and these are the smartest, brightest people supposedly in the world that are putting, and they spend billions of dollars to build these things, and they still fail, right? So I think people that have this like idea that nothing will ever fail, it's absurd. I really believe that that's not a really. So with having that mindset or that paradigm that things are going to break at some point, somehow, some way. Even my Ram, my Power Wagon, I drive it really hard, but it's been in the shop for like the last 2 months, almost every week. It's like, it's crazy. I'm having some 4-wheel drive issues, and we're just having issues and suspension issues. I just took it in for an alignment issue. Some of these things are my fault. But like everything has problems, so I want to know, is this company going to stand behind their problems, right? And then that usually comes from the culture of the company, right? Like, are they people that truly believe in the product? Do they care about people? Or are they kind of like money oriented? Is this like business? Is it transactional, right? One of the things that I hate more than anything in this world, like a phrase in business, is, it's just business. Like that phrase to me is like, I think it's so, I just, it bothers me when people say that, because they're like, hey dude, I'm not trying to be rude, and like, I'm not trying to offend you. It's just business. It's just business. I'm just like, wow, you are something else. Like I'm a human being, you're a human being. So what you're saying is you can be rude, or you can do something rude, and it's just say, man, it's just business. Like, that's not okay. I think sometimes we've had deals, we've sold trailers where we lose money. Like, we don't lose on the deal, but there's a situation that presents itself where the people come back, and we have to make some sort of situation. We end up spending more money than we wanted to fix the issue, right? And we look at this, and man, we sold this trailer, and at first we made some money, and then it left, and then we had some issues, and it came back, and we had to fix it. And it's a bummer. We lost money. But at the same time, it's like, well, hopefully we'll make up money on the next deal, right? You can't do this over and over and over and stay in business. But sometimes you have to do certain things like this. And I feel like I see this with some people. They're like, I can't lose ever, right? Well, if you can't lose ever, that means somebody's losing, right? And it's the customer, right? The person that owns the trailer, they're going to lose. Because you can't, because it's just business, right? And then they use this. So I'm looking for culture. Sorry I get a little, if you didn't know, if this is your first time watching our videos, I can get a little bit ranty and talkative about certain things. That's why we have the longest tours on all of YouTube. Most of our video tours are like an hour long. My mom and dad said I didn't learn to speak until I was like 3 or 4 years old. I didn't speak for a long time, and they're like, I've been trying to catch up ever since, just so you know. Anyway, that is what I look for when I am working with any company. That's what I look for when I go to a factory. And it's not just, I don't just look for that in a factory. I look that even when I walk in to do business with somebody, I want to know, do these people care? What's their culture like? Because I don't, life is too short just to be transactional. So that's what I'm going to be looking for more than anything else. Obviously, I'm going to be intrigued by like how their processes work versus Imperials and their systems. And there's some interesting things that a lot of I went out to, what's that place called? Oliver, Tennessee. They do factory tours. Man, that's a cool company. I wish they built a good off-road trailer, and they would make us one of their dealers or something, because they sell super cool stuff. And more than anything else, man, the culture of that company was just like, those people cared so much. Like their QC, that's something that I'll look for, is I do want to see their QC process, because I do definitely feel that there are some manufacturers that like you can tell their QC whether that's good or bad. So there's something else. Greetings from Central Oregon. Hello, Robert. Welcome. I think you're buying a trailer from us, if I know correctly. I don't know if you've been working with Nate or Josh, but I thought I saw your name pop up into our system outside of YouTube. I know I've seen you on YouTube a bunch, but anyway, if so, thank you. I want to welcome you too as well. William says, what is the lead time on a UEV-19? Oh boy, I don't know. That I need to get more information about that. There's been a lot of delays with the Conqueror factory, and I want to say we're going to be seeing some landing here in the next month or two. But yeah, you're going to have to reach out to us, and we're going to have to just reach out to us on that question. So, will y'all be open Memorial Weekend? Wife wants to see the Romer 1 before she's okay. Before she okays it. Yes. Well, typically, I think we don't work. We never work on the weekend. FYI, we're closed Saturday and Sunday. In Utah, it's the law. We have a law that you can't. A car or an RV dealership can't be open 7 days, consecutive days of the week, which is Sunday. So it used to be we couldn't be opened on Sunday, and I think that wasn't politically correct. So the government, they changed it to 7 days consecutive. So so we're always closed on Sunday, and we also are closed on Saturday. We're by appointment only at both South Carolina and in Utah. And a lot of people, the reason why we do that is because, first of all, we sell very niche stuff, and over 75% of everything we sell is not in Utah, so we're not like open to like people just coming in off the street. We kind of are far away from the main, we're off the freeway, but we're kind of out of the way by design, because we don't sell like everyday, stuff that you can see everywhere. It's kind of unique. So people are usually looking for us, and they're kind of finding us, right? So we always try to be by appointment, because then we can like dedicate time to the person that comes in. Like, we don't want like somebody to just come in and like not get good service. We want them to come in, and we want one of our guys, one of the sales coaches, to be like dedicated to like, how can I help you? How can I answer your questions? And there's not ever any pressure. If you are like, I just want to set up an appointment and come in and just walk through things, we're say that's fine. There's no pressure whatsoever. We very, very try not to. We try very hard to never be salesy in any way. So the answer is we're never open on Saturday or Sunday. We might be open Monday, but I'm not sure, honestly. I don't always set the hours here. So, so just text us and talk with. Just reach out to one of the sales coaches, 801-860-0035, and ask. And just say the date that you want to come, and they'll tell you, yeah, I'll come and meet you. And sometimes our guys come on Saturdays too. So it's not that we're never open to coming in on a Saturday or even a Monday Memorial Weekend. It's just we want to know ahead of time and set up an appointment. And we're pretty flexible. We come in late, we come in early, we meet people all the time. So thanks for the frank and truthful reply. It's great to know. Thank you. I don't remember what I actually answered. Oh, yes, Phoenix. Yes, you asked about Australia. I could talk about that forever, because we literally, 7 or 8 years ago, we got on this mission to build our own off-road trailer. And because we were sick and tired of just selling stuff from the US that we thought wasn't very good. But we evolved, and then we started selling really nice premium motorhomes that were like $600 to $1 million motor coaches. So we were selling great stuff, but it wasn't like our DNA. We were outdoorsy, off-roady people, and we wanted to go to Moab, and we're just like, this is so cool. On the weekend, we're down in Moab camping in our Jeeps and Land Rovers, but during the week we sell 45-foot motorhomes, and it was just like that. You have to park in KOAs and Walmart parking lots because you can't take them off-roading, right? So that's kind of where we started this idea of we should build our own trailer. And then we started researching, and we're like, man, Australia makes some really cool stuff. And so we reached out to Patriot Campers. They were the first people we reached out to. I think we maybe reached out to Brooder, but at this time, neither one of them were really interested in trying to make. Patriot had just barely set up a deal with Oklahoma, the guys over there, which are no longer Patriot dealers, unfortunately. But so they were not really nobody was really ready to come to the U.S. And sorry, I see my video guys back there are laughing at the recent comment, so I see it. Ha ha ha, everybody. So anyway, they just weren't ready to come into the U.S. and so that's where we just started reaching out to everybody in Australia, and we synced up with Black Series. And Black Series was like, actually, yeah, we're an Australian company, is what they told us. And we're coming out of the U.S. right now. And we were like, great. And we synced up with them. And man, the first couple of years of them, they made some really good quality trailers. And we really jumped on that bandwagon. And I bought one of the very first ones personally, and really loved it. And you know, there's a story behind that whole thing. We moved away from them because the quality kind of went downhill. And yeah, so I wouldn't buy a newer one, but if you could find one of the first year or two generations, maybe even the third year, some of them, it would be okay. And the other thing is we started doing mods. Everybody's like, you guys are the mods people. But like the reality is we just had so many problems. We had to fix the trailers. And so it led from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, which were like, they just all happened to be very good upgrades and mods. So that was kind of fun. But I'm super grateful that it's been part of the journey. It's part of our story, you know, and we are where we are today because of everything we've gone through. So, and we've learned a lot. And I feel like what we've done is we've taken everything we've learned from Australia and all the different brands that we've worked with and carried, and we've also taken a lot for what we learned from the high-end motor coaches. And we've tried to marry that together into some of these new trailers that we're seeing in the U.S. coming. Okay, so ROA has hit a sweet spot in the emerging North American market with the off-road market. Patriot Campers was one of the first to catch the market's attention. Yeah, Patriots are super cool, you know. And speaking about like manufacturers and culture, that's something that is really cool about Patriot. Like the owner, the founder, first of all, he still works there, and he's so passionate about making one of the best camper trailers in the world. And they have so many cool things in the future in the works that they're going to be doing. Moving over a distribution center here to Vegas, which is a big deal. I don't think people understand. One of the most difficult things, I don't want to get into like too many details about getting stuff from Australia to here, but there's like a different mentality between Americans and Australians. And I don't want to like necessarily make blanket statements over like people, but this is my experience, right? Is Americans tend to be a little bit more ambitious, and they want to just keep on growing and growing and growing and growing, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's been kind of our experience with some of these Australian manufacturers that we reach out to. We're like, hey, mate, you should come to the US. You make some cool stuff. And they're like, yeah, but we already make like 200 trailers a year. Why would we make more? And it's like, because like a lot of people in America want your trailers, and they're like, yeah, mate, we're fine. No, we're doing okay. We make enough money, and we're like, I mean, it's cool. I like it. I like that. I like the mentality, but it's like, but we really want your trailers here, and we could sell 200 just here, and that would be doubling your business. And they're like, nah, mate, that sounds like too much work. And you're like, okay, sure, whatever. Like it is what it is, you know. And that, but then there are other manufacturers that are like, no, I see the opportunity. I want to, you know, expand my business. I want to bring it into another market, and luckily we sync up with those people. But man, like it's also a tremendous cost, because everything they do is left-sided, right? Like the opposite side. So you have to mirror it. And some of these manufacturers mirroring it, you have to, depending on how they build it, it's hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of dollars for them to just change the mirroring and get everything to US code, right? Electrical wiring, you know, componentry. Like they have to order all of this stuff, mirror it, and then ship it to the US, and hopefully there's a market for it, right? So it's millions and millions of, potentially millions and millions of dollars that you have to spend up front to even like get your first few units shipped to the US, and then you hope there's a market for it. The other issue is the shipping is so expensive, right? Like so there's a lot of stuff involved, and I don't think people see the whole picture of it. It seems like it should be just so easy, just ship it over. and there's a lot of work. Anyway, so is there other roamer models that are in the works? Yes, there is actually. We have another roamer model. We actually showcased a prototype of it a few months ago, and I think everybody was kind of mad that we didn't go into tons of detail. And the reason why it was kind of the prototype, and we were trying to do this whole thing that I'm talking about, like not spending millions and millions of dollars to build something that maybe people won't like, right? Like, I mean, if anybody out there has just millions of dollars to throw at manufacturing to get Australian people, we don't. We're doing okay, and we're growing, and things are great, but whatever, like. So the Roamer X, to answer your question, there is a Roamer X on the horizon, and that is very exciting. I'm super excited about the Roamer 1 and the Pause that I almost don't even want to think about it, but it is on the horizon, and it is super exciting. We have made some changes. We took that prototype and we literally just ran it through its paces and beat the living whatever out of that thing. And we found things that needed to be improved. We broke it, and we're making those improvements, and we're going to have the very first, I would call it non-prototype, because there's already been a couple built of that after the prototype. And we're going to have the first production vehicle probably in the fall. First one available to actually buy by maybe summer, maybe mid to late summer, but I'd rather say fall and not make anybody mad. They call it the specs on the Roamer XL. So no XL. That's a little bit later into the future. I think one of our sales coaches has been calling it an XL, but it's just an X. So the Roamer X is the one that's on the horizon. And as far as, I'll tell you, the biggest thing that has changed on it is we've gone from a single axle, the Roamer X. We have a video of this trailer, and it is pretty cool. It's gone from a single, not axle, but 2 wheels on the ground to 4 wheels on the ground. And we've actually teamed up with Moab for that air suspension, and that thing has 12 inches of travel, which is the same as the Brooder, which is pretty cool. And that's a one-piece composite mold, seamless design. It's gonna be pretty cool. But there's still some little details that we're just finishing, and I don't want to go into too much details on that. Yes, we have ordered an X195. The Oliver was close second choice. Yes, thank you, Robert. Congratulations. X195 is amazing. Like I said, Olivers are also amazing. I'll tell you what I don't like, what I didn't like about Olivers. Maybe I shouldn't. You didn't ask that question, but I'll tell you anyway. We went to the factory tour. Amazing company, amazing culture. I don't think you could ever be wrong with buying an Oliver. It's not designed for the off-road. It just isn't. And so, like, in some areas they were making so the quality of the trailer is unbelievable, and their QC team was unbelievable. And man, those guys, like, just talking to the people, you could tell that they cared so much about delivering a good trailer into the market. Like, you could tell they cared so much, and it just made, I mean, I almost wanted to buy one by the time I got done with that factory tour, because I was just like, wow, these guys are amazing. The trailer is not designed for the off-road. It wasn't really designed for, I know they're like doing lithium now. When I went, this was only like a year ago, and they weren't even doing lithium. They were talking about maybe doing it, and I was like, wow, you guys are like 5 years behind. Like, people are already doing this, right? And then they were talking about solar, doing more solar, and the other thing is, like, some of the components that they use in it are just kind of cheap, honestly. Like, they work, but they're cheap. But some of the components they use were phenomenal, but it's just stuff like the silly cheap water heaters and silly cheap, I can't remember some of the other things. I mean, they're using solid axles and leaf springs, which I think that's going to be one of the things that shifts in the next few years more than anything else, is suspension, right? I mean, like, every off-road vehicle you see now pretty much has gas. I mean, they all have gas shocks. Like that's like and coils. You know, even if it's a solid axle or an independent suspension, at least you're running on coils and gas shocks, right? And I just think that's something that the whole entire industry needs to move towards, because it's a completely different experience when towing a trailer when you have some sort of gas coil. For trailers, I think independent suspension is what everything should move towards. I get like some of the payloads, if you're looking at toy haulers, that's not as much. The solid axles are just so much more heavy duty, but semi trucks still use airbags. I mean, motorhomes. I was driving $1 million motorhomes that are 40,000 pounds and they have air suspensions. You know, so there's no reason why you can't go to air suspensions, and more so even if you're using a solid axle, but like with an airbag system, right? It's just to me, it's so archaic. It has to. That's something that needs to be changed. But once again, thank you, Robert. I'm super excited. That's what it was. I remember seeing a 195 tan, maybe, right? Anyway, I'm interested in the X195. Benjamin says, cool. Let me know if you have any questions. This is the time. We were trying to stay pause themed, but once again, I'm just happy for questions. So go ahead and shoot anytime. Anything you want to know. Have any specs on the XL? I already read that. Looked at the Roamer 1 in South Carolina last week. Love it. Question. What are the backups to all the electronics on the Pause? That's a good question. So number one, and I didn't realize this at first, everybody's like, well, what happens if you break the tablet? There's a phone. You can download the app. Big Truck, Big RV. We gave him our very first Pause, and he's been reviewing it and taking it out. I'm super grateful for him. If you don't guys know him, go check him out. Big Truck, Big RV. He's got some cool stuff. He just like reviews trailers. Really 15-minute shorts content. But if you actually want to know about a trailer, go check him out, because he'll go through it. He's reviewing the Pause. He's gonna keep it for 2 months and just kind of do reviews every week on it, I think. But he was like, man, I don't know about this tablet thing. Like if you drop it, if you break it, and I called him. I'm like, JD, I was saying the exact same thing. You don't need the tablet. You can download an app on your phone, and if you drop your phone or break your phone, in today's society, within 24 hours, you'll have a new phone, right? And people, this is an appendage to some people nowadays. Everybody has their phone. You're never gonna like the tablet. It's a non-issue, right? The app is on your phone. You can run everything through your phone. Secondary, there are some manual control and override systems on the actual trailer that you can pop into, and be able to manually control some stuff. So you have the tablet, you lose the tablet, you break the tablet, you have your phone. If you lose your phone, break your phone, grab your spouse's phone. If they lose their phone, break their phone, grab your child's phone. Okay, everybody's gonna have a phone, right? So, and download the app and you can get right into it. If that breaks, then there are some functions. There's some in the brain of the thing. There's some ability to actually manually override some of the components. And then also, like, most of the mechanical stuff, there's gears in them, right? And so there are like slots where you can put in a manual gear and you can crank it, and that's like every trailer on the market. So I wouldn't be overly worried about that. Also, Garmin is, I wasn't super familiar with Garmin before getting into the Pause, and everybody that I talk to that's like, Garmin is pretty awesome. Like, Garmin is used in aviation, in the military, in yachts, $100 million yachts, $100 million airplanes. So Garmin is pretty a legit company, and they're not like throwing in the cheapest system in there. And we've had people, some of our first people that have been buying the Pauses, the only reason why they're buying it is because of Garmin, which was shocking to me. They're like, they've called up and said, dude, I've been in aviation for my entire career. There's no way, like, Garmin, like the fact that Garmin is in the trailer is like just a testament that the trailer has to be good. And I'm like, sounds good to me. That's awesome. Like, I didn't know all of these things, so I've been learning a lot about the Garmin system, and it's pretty incredible, actually. So the next thing is, do you like Bronco or Jeep more for towing a Patriot camper? That's what the guys are laughing at, because I was okay, I gotta be, I'm not, maybe I am, maybe I'm in self-denial, but I like to say I'm not biased towards Ford, Chevy, or Ram. I have a Ram. I drive a Ram, but I've had Fords, I've had Chevys and GMs. For the longest time we had I had a Chevy truck, and I grew up with Chevys. My parents owned Chevys mostly. My parents currently own a Ram. I currently own a Ram. So I'm a huge fan of Rams since I've owned Rams personally, and also Cummins. Cummins is amazing. You can't argue that. But the Allison transmission in Chevy is amazing, and you can't argue that. Ford. I've been a little bit less impressed with Ford trucks recently. Hopefully I'm not going to offend anybody. And I'm not saying because I don't like Ford, but because a lot of people that have been coming and buying trailers from us have been having issues with some of the new Ford stuff. And not Broncos. I'm not talking Broncos. I'm talking trucks. But then I know people love them and rave about them, and people have problems with everything. If I were to say in an order of my favorite to least favorite, it'd probably be Ram, Ford, Chevy. If I were to say most reliable, I'm not going to say that because that will create too much controversial. But I will tell you, of all the vehicles that I've had that has had the least amount of problems, it was probably Chevy. So it's funny that they're my least favorite. But I think they might be the most reliable. I don't know. I don't want to say that, but I'm not like really like hardcore one way or the other. I think they're all phenomenal products. I like them all. Ford versus Bronco versus Jeep. The question, I would go with the Jeep. I'm sorry. And it's not because I'm a Chrysler or Mopar Jeep Ram person more than a Ford person. It's just because I think Jeeps are, they're just more off-road capable, and I will argue that with anybody. I will argue that a Jeep is more off-road capable than any vehicle on planet Earth. Maybe if you say stock to stock, they have the same stats, but it's like, but Jeeps are designed to not be stock. Like, that's what makes a Jeep so unique, is there's a $1 billion industry that backs up Jeep called aftermarket parts, right? And that's my biggest frustration, because I've owned Fords, I have a Power Wagon, right? And my options for aftermarket options are like they're very small. And Jeep, it's just like it's infinite, it feels like. So that's the cool thing about Jeeps, is they're definitely like, there's a lot of aftermarket options for them. Now, as far as like towing, like a Ford Bronco might tow better. I would say it probably will tow better than a Jeep Wrangler, if you're talking Wranglers. Gladiator, if you're talking a Ford Bronco with the max tow package versus the Jeep Gladiator, I would go with the Gladiator because it's going to tow better. And if you put on bigger tires, it's going to be also more off-road capable, which is crazy because it has a longer wheelbase. It will go more places than a Ford Bronco. I mean, we're talking tight turns, I think Ford Bronco has that crab walk, so that might be kind of cool for some tighter turns, or at least the rear wheel steering, if it has that. I know the new Chevy Hummer has that, and I thought the Ford Bronco does too. So you're not going to go wrong. But if you want to get to the most extreme, most crazy, remote places with the Patriot camper, you got to go Jeep, because Jeeps can get to the most extreme places if you modify them aftermarket. If you're sticking with stock, then you might be. I would still think you would get to more places with the Jeep, but you could. But a Ford Bronco is going to tow better probably, because they're going to be that EcoBoost. If you get the EcoBoost with max tow package, it's amazing. That's a great little engine. I don't love the Pentastar in the Jeep. I think it's kind of like a gutless engine. I just don't think it's that. I've never really liked it. But the Gladiator tows really, really good, stock or upgraded. So I would go Jeep Gladiator number one, and it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So when is the next Roamer adventure? Any details on that? Yes. Well, actually, just reach out to Angela at RVsOfAmerica.com. You can also dial our phone system, and I think she's option 5, and she'll give you the details. That is actually I think it's 2 weeks from now. We're going to Moab, and that is going to be one of the most epic adventures ever. We are renting razors. We're going to be going on some of the most iconic deep trails in the world. Hell's Revenge, Fins and Things. Don't be afraid, because you're going to be going out there with well, we're official tour guides. We actually have our tour guide license down in the Moab area. Michael is going to be leading some of the off-road expeditions, and that guy lives for the off-road. Not with Jeeps. We're taking razors. I think there is a day that he's going to be taking actual tow vehicles up to one of the trails. But I know we're taking razors on Hell's Revenge, probably Fins and Things, probably Top of the World, Chicken's Corners. It's going to be amazing. If you're not, we might have another space or 2 or 3 on that. I'm not sure. Reach out to Angela, but that is going to be one of the coolest. The first time I went to Moab, I know I've been to Moab like since I was a little child. I hiked Arches when I was a baby. I think I have pictures of me at like 3 or 4 years old at Arches. But like the first time I went on the Jeep trails in a Razor, oh my goodness. Let's just say I've been back every single year. 1, 2, or 3 times a year. I don't miss at least one time per year, and I'm talking about a Razor. You can do it in a Jeep or a Power Wagon. It's a lot more tedious and time consuming and tiring. But those Razors, they just kind of float over the rocks. They get you through the trails really fast, and at the end of the day, you're not tired or fatigued from bouncing around. They are so fun, and to me, it's like a bucket list item. Like, if you want to skydive or see the ocean or like do some crazy thing that you've never ever done in your entire life, visit all the national parks. Razoring in Moab on Hell's Revenge should be on the list of one of the coolest things you ever do in your life. It will be on the list if you go, and it should be a bucket list item for sure. Let's go down to the next person. I was just curious, are there upgrade mods for all the trailers that ROA sells, or can only some of them get modified? Pretty much. I mean, we do tons of upgrades. Just reach out to us directly and let's see what we're, ask us what you want done. And modifieds versus accessories is 2 different things. So we accessorize every trailer. Modify some things we kind of like try to avoid, just because you want to keep the structural integrity. Like, we're not going to like modify a frame, right? That could be dangerous. That comes from the factory, the way it's designed, and we don't want to do too much of that crazy stuff. So you're going to be at the More Expo end of the month? I don't think so. Sorry, Benjamin. I don't even know what that is, so I would assume we're not going to it. We don't do a lot of expos, honestly, and sorry. I feel bad about that. We used to do expos and shows, and it's just, logistically speaking, it's so hard, and it's a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of manpower, and maybe someday.
Imperials, I think. Can be there.
Imperial. So depends on what. So and a lot of these shows too are also factory-driven shows, and we're not a factory. I know we are white labeling something, and we've been really considering, hey, maybe we should be at every show with the Roamer 1, since that's kind of our branded trailer. Now the Imperial, I know they go out and do a lot of the shows. Pause does a lot of the shows. We will typically go and support some of those shows. The main shows that we tried to go to and at least like be there and support the manufacturer is the Overland Expos. We really feel like that's a space that we should be involved in being at, and so typically we do try to go to those shows. So hi all from Central Texas. We are so excited. Ordered a Pause 20.3 from y'all. Yes, thank you, congratulations, thank you. So excited about that. Oh man, the 20.3 is so cool. Hey, and stay tuned because the factory tours are going to be coming very, very soon. I hope the very first factory tour will be probably out in a few weeks, because we got to go film it, and then the guys are going to have to come back and just put it together. But here, I'll give you a schedule. This coming Sunday, we have a Roamer 1 tour. It's not going to be a full in-depth one, but it's going to be a Roamer 1 tour. A smaller version that we collaborated with somebody on. And the next Sunday will be the official full Roamer 1 tour. Now we have to do it now that I've said it. Uh-oh. And then I'm hoping the following Sunday we'll have the Pause factory tour stuff coming out. If not, we'll have another fun thing coming out, which is another tour of the Roamer 1, and that is a collaboration we did with none other than TFL Truck. Super excited about that. If you guys don't know who they are, they're big deals. Like they're cool guys. They're huge on YouTube. Lots of truck stuff, and we actually gave them a Roamer 1, and we said, go out, off-road it, beat it up, tow it. They're going to be tow testing it with Raptors, TRXs. At least that's what we're hoping. We're kind of like giving them the freedom to do whatever they want. And we said, hey, the only thing we want is your honest opinion and your honest reporting capability that you have. We want you to report back and, tell us. I hope it doesn't fall apart. I don't expect it to, because I don't think anybody's put it through as much as I have. But we always want to learn and grow, so we're asking them to give us feedback on it. So stay tuned for some of that. Go check out TFL. They're going to be bringing in some cool stuff. So thank you again, Christy. Super excited. Stay tuned for the factory tours. Like I said, 3, maybe 4 weeks. We'll start rolling all those out, and you'll be able to learn a lot about the Pause. Shane, no way to get a queen size bed option on the X195. Right now, there's not. Unfortunately, super frustrated about that, honestly. I wish we had more say over that bed size. I sleep on a king size bed, so I'm used to a king size bed. Queen size bed is very manageable for me. A full size bed was kind of like, oh man, am I gonna? I'm a pretty big guy, and I have slept fine in the queen size bed. So I mean, in the full, that's in the 195. And you're out camping too. I don't know. You just get used to sleeping on it. I think it's very comfortable. The Roamer 1, I shouldn't say the bed is comfortable. The bed in the Roamer 1 is comfortable because we put a 10-inch thick memory foam mattress in it. But I don't know. I think it's not as big a deal as I thought it was going to be. Even though I would have if I personally built it, I would have put a queen size bed in it. You would just have to tear out all the cabinetry in the front, and it just would be a mess. It would be a mess because the side cabinets hold up the upper cabinets, so you couldn't just like cut out the side cabinets, because if you cut out the side cabinets, the whole top cabinet would fall, and it would look really bad. So it's not as super practical, unfortunately. Sorry. That has been one of the biggest frustrations that we've had. Benjamin, Explorer will be at the Moore Expo with the X195 and the 145. There you go. So go check it out. And honestly, I don't think the bed size is that bad. Once you sleep on it and try it, unless you like sleep like with your arms spread out, like wah, and you roll and you smack people. I sleep on my side, and I don't actually really move. And especially if you have a memory phone, like you kind of sink into it and you just stay there nice and put. Anyways, thank you, Nate, for letting us know about that. Any other questions? Benjamin gives me the thumbs up. Thank you, Benjamin. Oh, that's probably for Nate, actually, because he's the one that answered your question. Anyway, we're about come to an end of our live campfire rant. I really appreciate everybody jumping in, making comments. And we're going to try to keep in mind that every single first Thursday of the month, we are going to be releasing these. The other thing is, if you like, Michael, we did one of these where we did a team campfire rant. If you really like that, if you want us to switch it up a little bit, I'm all about switching things up. I can always do it this way, but I like to sometimes bring on guests. I don't know if you like that format. If you have any questions, this will go live. I mean, it will go and get uploaded, and then you'll be able to rewatch this and make comments, and we'll jump on there and see like, oh, maybe next month we should talk about a certain topic. The last thing was, can you get an Explorer or Roamer 1 with a more minimalistic inside, like walls that Velcro patches will stick to T-tracks and all 4 walls? As of right now, I don't think so. But that's something we could bring up to the factory. They've kind of set this trailer up to be the way it is for at least the next 6 months. So like maybe a year from now that might be like something that could be done, but right now it's kind of, yeah, good question, something to think about. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next Campfire Rant next Thursday. Also, a happy Easter. Hopefully you are going to go out and be with your family and go camping this weekend and enjoy. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful Easter, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Sweet.